It's one of our favorite family tradition stand setups. See it right here. We have really good backdrop up there. It's hidden. And Jen and I had a great hunt here last year. Dante sat here and had a really good hunt. And it's a really cool spot to sit. There's one big problem, and this extends to when you're hunting food plots in general, is that this food plot is too big with how we're planting it this year for us to hunt in this stand location. We're actually taking the stand location out. You see all the corn that used to be here from last year. We could come in through here in a trail through the corn, come in through here right from our redneck back there. We could sneak in, get in this stand. We could have deer out here in the green and not see us. We have a mock scrape right over here. We did a study on that from the end of September to the end of November. We had 210 hits on that mock scrape. And as a side note, there was 22 hits, 22 rubs on the rub. It just shows you the difference of how much of a priority bucks place in rubbing versus scraping. 210 on the mock scrape, 22 on the rub. On the mock scrape, we had 1/3 bucks, 1/3 does, 1/3 fawns. Of course, we had all bucks hit the scrape or the rub. And but you know, that aside, that was all set up for that, where we could watch deer hit the green, hit the rub, and then they head out this direction here. We have a water hole on the other side, stand location about 125 yards in, and they go through that location. So there's a big problem here. Now, obviously, this is right out in the open. We're gonna have a big patch of brassica on one side and a big patch of, be a big Bruce brassica, and then our fall power greens on the other side right here, our WHS green blend. We'll split that right here. We have switchgrass for a screen, a visual screen up there. It's about 30, 40 feet wide in most locations. We have the hedge, so we can get in and out of here for gun hunting, great. But when it comes to bow hunting on this 2.5 acre field, we really don't have a setup that works out here right on this food plot, and that's okay. Because in this 2.5 acre food plot, it anchors the movement here. It makes sure that those bedding areas over there are full. It makes sure the bedding area on the point. We found lucky sheds off the point this year. The bedding area down on the bottom. Jen and I both shot mature bucks out of the cairn, which is on the other side of the bedding area. So we have a lot of deer movement in this area that is supported by this food plot alone. So why mess it up? Please avoid the temptation. Avoid the risk of coming in here and saying, okay, these deer are on this side, I'm gonna sit in this beautiful tree on the side, this beautiful tree out in the middle, obviously, and I'm gonna risk it. You can't afford the risk, because once we spook out this big food plot right here, we spook out all those bedding areas for mature bucks, and we ruin about 30 acres of property because of overhunting this. So what do you hunt instead then? Always look for the opportunity. Right down there, shot a beautiful buck two years ago. He had an inside tine on him. But I shot him over the water hole right over here. Great stand location. We love sitting there. We've had many, many looks at lots of bucks out of that stand over the water hole. We could have 30 deer out here, and we can get into that water hole stand. It's far enough away. It's probably about 50 yards off the edge where we come in, and then the stand itself is probably 70, 80 yards in, down the hill a little bit. But we can get in and out of that without spooking any deer up here in any way. We blow our scent to a non-deer area because they're all coming through here. We can blow it to an area on the other side of the gully, and we can have a great hunt and not spook deer. That's the name of the game. We can get in there in the morning, we can get in there in the afternoon. So a really cool spot to hunt, and that's how you hunt this food plot. We're not doing it right on the food plot. We're doing it because every deer that comes in this food plot and shows up in this food plot will be down at that water hole at some point during the daylight where we can shoot them. We also have a stand down here on the bench. I haven't hunted it in a couple years. My friend Mike Pratt hunted it 2 years ago. It's right down here, and it's great movement for deer that are going back and forth into this bedding area, blowing your scent up on the other side of this food plot. So if we have indication that a mature buck is here and heading that way, by that stand location across that bench, we can sit over there and hunt. So we can hunt there, we can hunt over there. And then this is an example of one of our setups where we have a redneck blind that we can't bow hunt out of. It's too far away. I could put a little clover plot right up there on the end, or some kind of plot, but why wouldn't they be in any of this plot right out here? It's okay to have plots that you don't hunt with a bow. We've had some incredible hunts. My daughter Autumn shot a beautiful 8-point last year with her boyfriend Joey. They're both sitting out here, had an inside tine on it. Beautiful, beautiful 8-point, 9 points with the inside tine, really tall tines. We've had Dante shot a beautiful 10-point out here. I've watched 4-year-olds out here who've been able to pass 45 before I shot him last year. He was a 5-year-old. Passed him as a 4-year-old 2 years ago. Passed up Lucky last year on this plot during muzzleloader season. He's a 5-year-old buck. We elected to wait till he gets 6 years old if he made it this year. He made it through the season. So you have some great muzzleloader sits late season. I sat out, it was pouring rain last year. It was opening day of gun season. I sat in the redneck blind and really enjoyed a great hunt out here. I saw 4 or 5 bucks, does, sat here till about 1 o'clock and got out of here. Don't spook anything because it's out of the redneck and we're off to the side. We have good access coming in here. That's how we hunt this plot. Well, it's end of July, and I hope most of you by this point in the year have been able to check out our food plot seed company, WHS Wildlife Blends. We've had clients and customers in almost 50 states by now. And the cool thing is, you know, I don't like you to pay shipping if you don't have to. We're not gonna have a giant dealer network. That's not the way we are. We built the business on experience and providing good information and quality products. People ordered online. But if you live in the Southeast Minnesota, Southwest Wisconsin area, Nelson Agri Center out of Viroqua and Prairie du Chien is our only dealer in the country. I don't know if that's the way it'll be in the future, but they're very important to us because people in this region can actually travel to them, whether you're in northeast Iowa or northwest Illinois, and pick up that seed without shipping. So give them a call, check them out, and check out the food plot company. Check out the website if you haven't done so already. And I really appreciate you guys giving us a look for your food plot planting needs this season. But this plot, we also hunt from the stand over there with a bow. Doesn't mean they have to be on this plot to hunt it. And I think that's what people really fail at. And I don't blame you either. You know, a lot of you watch the Outdoor Channel, Sportsman's Channel, and you see these hunting shows where hunting celebrities are coming out to the side and sitting here and shooting a buck that comes out here in this big open plot. But they don't tell you that they wait till one sit for a perfect shot. They spook a lot of deer going in, but they're in Iowa, they're in Kansas, they're in Kentucky, they're in Fantasyland states where there's not a lot of hunting pressure. Kind of as a simple guide, I've started throwing this around a little bit, but if you have more than 100,000 bow hunters in your state, it's a higher pressure state. Iowa, 65,000, Kansas, 25,000, Kentucky, 200,000 bow hunters and hunters combined. So these states with not a lot of hunting pressure, the bucks and does in general do not become as wary as a lot of the other states, whether it's objects, shapes, getting spooked once or twice. I can honestly say we spooked this. Let's say there's 12 deer that came out here consistently for 5 days in a row. We come in here and spook them. On the 5th day, we're gonna have 2 or 3 or 1. The next day, if we sat and spooked those, pretty soon we don't see deer out here for days in a row. It happens that fast. So avoid the temptation of thinking you have to sit on your big, beautiful food plot and hunt. Instead, hunt this big, beautiful food plot, 100 yards that way, 100 yards that way, get in and out safely. Preserve this so it preserves your bedding areas and all the deer, because those bedding areas, doesn't matter if you spook them out there. If you spook them out here, there's not gonna be any deer in those bedding areas. So this is just as critical and probably more critical, this big food plot right here, to be in your sanctuary than those bedding areas back there. Because again, if you spook them here, they're not gonna be in that sanctuary over there. Preserve your food plots, preserve your sits, enjoy a great gun season and muzzleloader sits, and then this food plot is actually a great contributor to your land. Number one risk on any small parcel, doesn't matter if it's a few hundred acres or a few dozen or 20 acres, 10, the biggest risk is a food source like this, where you have high quality diversity that lasts the entire season. It attracts a lot of deer here, and the only thing that can happen really bad is you spook the deer off the plot and it destroys your property. You can destroy 30 acres at a time by overhunting this. Again, preserve your food plots, learn what's a small hunting plot. We could have a small hunting plot off to the side 75 yards away that's just a pass through. I want deer coming from there, going through there to go out into the fields or go to the neighbor's land, whatever. That's different. Hunting plots are completely different. They're a pass through. Get in and out of that plot without spooking this right here. You're not spooking deer on the way in, the way out. That's a hunting plot, just a window movement. This right here is a holding plot. We want to hold them till dark, keep them safe, let them feel low risk, and get out of here. Might take a shot at them with a gun someday. Otherwise, we're hunting off to the side. I hope that makes sense to you. That's a great way to preserve your land, build your herd, build a quality herd. And if you have all that going on for you, you'll have a quality hunt this fall and beyond.